because no matter how much I got, I'm going to die someday, and I'm selfish. I don't want to go to hell. I've been saying the rosary every day ever since.
Why did you get rid of it all?
Well,
What happens when you gain the whole world and realize it's not enough? This is a story of riches to rags and the freedom that followed. Meet Tom Monaghan, founder of Domino's Pizza. Welcome to the 11 Talents Podcast.
Tom, when I get asked about, if I could describe you in one word from a business perspective, because there's a lot of areas, but from a business perspective, the one word that comes to my mind is focus. And you look at the Domino's menu today, and it's probably a couple pages long. Talk us through why focus is so important to you.
Well, it's certainly important in the business the way I designed it, because we were the first one to focus on delivery. There were some mom and pops that delivered, but no really any kind of a chain, because it was just too difficult. And part of the reason is so much of your business comes in such a short period of time, and when the customer doesn't know that you're busy when you're busy, and so they expect that pizza there in 20 minutes, whether it's a Super Bowl Sunday or typical Monday. 20
minutes or 30 minutes?
Well, we always, from the very beginning, we wanted to try to deliver every pizza within 30 minutes, which is very, very difficult to do because it takes 7 minutes to bake the pizza. So you got to get it made, you got to get it in the oven. If it takes you 20 minutes to get it in the oven because you're busy, there's no way you're going to get it there in 30 minutes. Eventually, the conveyor idea came up because we were the busiest pizzerias in the world, and because no one ever sold that much pizza, so they didn't have to deal with this kind of volume in such a short period of time. And so it was always an effort how to do that. A lot of time and motion studies, choreographing and making the pizza making contests for their employees, see how fast they can make a pizza and still have it be a quality pizza. It was all about handling the rush, because if you didn't handle the rush, no matter how good your pizza was, it's going to be old, it's going to be late, and it's going to end up tasting like a box. And so it's very important to get it in the oven fast, get it out the door fast, and do that without speeding.
And you were one of the first, I think, to really centralize the commissary distribution. Obviously, yes. With pizza, you've got a lot of factors with dough. Water, air temperature, more than I know.
Yes, we're the first one in the pizza business to hire food chemists, and there's experts in the tomatoes. There's experts in dough, bakery. Bakery experts, and in the meats, and because agricultural products are so unpredictable. Just the cheese, for example, in the summer the cows are eating grass, and in the winter they're eating hay.
So you went down to that fine detail of what the cow's diet was to produce the type of cheese that you wanted on your pizza.
You had to if you want to have any consistency.
Wow.
And I learned early on it's you got to not only make a good product, but it's got to be consistent.
Yeah.
And the central kitchen, the commissary, was part of that. Typically, in all pizzerias, they made the dough in the back room, and there was all kinds of conditions. And dough was one of the most complicated things for us to figure out. The friction of the mixer, every batch of flour is different. The pH factor of the water, the temperature and the humidity in the room, they were all part of it. And so that was very difficult.
Wow. 1960s when you started Dominick's, right?
1960.
70s and 80s, you start getting some competitors like Pizza Hut and Little Caesars a little later. Did you suspect or think that they were doing that same level of evaluation or getting food chemists to look at cheese, or was this kind of unique to you?
It was kind of unique to us. I mean, I was an outsider. Virtually all our competition was Italian. Yeah. And I don't know if they used their grandmother's recipe or what, but they never into any of this sort of technology or consistency. And theirs was as much atmosphere of their place. In delivery, you had no atmosphere. Yeah. So we had to do things like make sure that the drivers were super neat. And we even had John T. Malloy design uniforms for us. And we didn't
Dress for
always-
Success
Yes.
author, right?
Yeah, everybody had to be clean shaven and groomed. There were no beards because our research showed that in those days, when beards weren't very popular, about 25% of the population thought that the people didn't shave, they didn't shower either.
Yeah.
So, and they were going into people's homes in the evening. It was very personal, and that's never really been done before. So we had a lot of issues to deal with that no one ever had to deal with before.
So often people refer to you as the father of franchising, the quality control that you just spoke about. But McDonald's was around before Domino's. I mean, what separated you from an operation like Ray Kroc's?
Well, Ray Kroc was sort of a mentor to me. Not personally, I knew him, but not. And I was familiar with McDonald's well before I got in the pizza business because my brother worked at one of the first McDonald's. And I saw that operation, and it was quite an operation. They just had the hamburger, I think it was 12 cents then.
12 cents, wow.
And they had French fries and shakes and I think maybe coffee. That was it. And they were doing all kinds of business. And Ray Kroc was my kind of businessman because, it was QFC, quality service cleanliness. He didn't care about return on investment or debits and credits and things like that. And that's the kind of businessman I was. As long as I'm growing by 50% and I'm paying my bills, I feel I'm doing fine financially.
Yeah. So you mentioned starting off in Domino's. You weren't an Italian, and it makes me think of the story that you shared of growing up in the orphanage that was run by Polish nuns. And when you played baseball, they would have referred to you as Monahanski.
Right.
I'm just curious, in the pizza world, did you get an Italian variation of Monaghan?
Like Monahini?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I've heard that a few times.
Okay.
Yeah, there were no. It's ironic that the two largest pizza chains in the world were started by Irishmen.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut and Domino's.
The Carney brothers, right?
Yeah.
Carney brothers and the Monaghan brothers.
Yeah, and the Carney, they were in the Legatus.
Yeah, Legatus members in Wichita. That's right. And still are. Spouses are. Yeah. Tom, you talk about hiring food chemists and things that are very high tech, but yet you yourself did not have that educational background.
No, I only got through half a year of college, but I've never had an inferiority complex about that because I was started in college campuses and had all these college students work for me, and that's all it took to.
You realized they're a bunch of idiots, and you were already above them. Is that basically?
Well, I think I could add and subtract better than most of them. I've always been an avid reader, and it's not so much fiction, but nonfiction, things that can help me. When I was in the Marine Corps, I came up with 5 priorities for my life: spiritual, social, mental, physical, financial. They had to be in that order. And I think I created them because I wanted to be successful, but I wanted to do it without going haywire.
Sure.
And keeping my priorities in order. Because no matter how much I got, I'm going to die someday, and I'm selfish. I don't want to go to hell. So I've tried to read anything that would help me in those 5 areas. Aristotle, as I found out later, had a similar criteria for happiness. I think it was learning, friends, health, and wealth.
Okay.
He didn't have the spiritual. I think it was before Revelation.
But this was obviously you weren't studying Aristotle in the Marine Corps.
Came up with it on my own. Board ship in the middle of the Pacific.
Yeah. So you joined the Marine Corps 1957?
It's 56.
56. Why the Marine Corps?
I thought I was joining the Army.
Me too. No, I'm just joking.
I'm not one of these gung-ho Marines that wanted to join the Marine Corps.
You weren't starting out, but you are now. So let's
it turns out that in any outfit I was in, I was probably one of the best shape physically because I worked out a lot and I didn't go out and get drunk every payday and all the rest of it. I don't have any tattoos on me, like most Marines did in those days. So I was pretty serious about my 5 priorities, and I wanted to use the time in the Marine Corps to learn as much as I could. The libraries and the bases weren't very big, but I think I read most of the nonfiction books in them.
Wow.
And then I worked out in the gym just about every day. And I'm trying to do things, and I saved most of the money I made in the Marine Corps for when I got out, which I lost just before I got out to a con man. But
you barely finished high school, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was always a good student. But in the 10th grade, I went in the seminary, and I got kicked out. And I was crushed. In the last couple of years of school, I barely cracked a book. And I barely graduated. And so I just didn't get any college I wanted. I did find a school that took me, and I got in. I got good grades for 1 quarter, and I transferred to Michigan based on that. But I didn't have the money for Michigan. That's when I joined the Marine Corps because I thought I was joining the Army, and the Army used to advertise, if you join the Army, they'll pay for your college. Mm-hmm. And so I asked the recruiter about that, and he said, yeah, you join for 3 years, you get 2 years of college, all paid for. And then they sent me down to the federal building in Chicago, and they went through the physicals and everything. And I didn't have to worry about getting drafted because I always had a hearing problem, but I didn't tell them. And it turns out that recruiter was not in the Army, he was in the Marines. And I didn't realize that until I was ready to sign the papers. And
Details matter, right? Details matter.
I saw the globe and anchor there.
Yeah.
I figure, well, what's the difference? And I had the second highest GCT in my outfit, and they put me in the infantry. I thought I'd get some kind of schooling.
Yeah, sure.
With those scores, but
we needed ground pounders in those days.
It was the best thing that ever happened. It was the best education you could have.
So that's what I was going to say. I mean, you didn't finish. You barely finished high school. You didn't have much college, but yet you attribute the Marine Corps with the best leadership training that you could have asked for.
They say the Marine Corps is the best business school in the world, and I certainly has been that for me.
You and your brother's idea, Jim, to buy this Dominic's pizza shop in Ypsilanti, Michigan, just outside of Ann Arbor. Had you ever, before day one of going into that business, had you ever made a pizza yourself from beginning to end?
No. I've eaten pizza, and I like pizza, and that's about the only thing I knew about the pizza business.
Do you advise CEOs and presidents to start companies that they've never been involved in now?
Depends on the person.
Yeah.
It depends on the business. Yeah, this was, my brother was a mailman, and he used to, on his route, he had a pizza place called Dominic's in Ann Arbor, and he stopped there for lunch, got to know the guy, and he found out that Dominic had a place in Ypsilanti that never really got going. It opened for a month or two and then closed, open. So it was just sitting there. And he talked my brother into buying it, but he didn't want to do it on his own. So he asked me, and at this time I'm struggling. I'm out of the Marine Corps. I'm going to Michigan, but I can't. I don't even have textbooks. I didn't have the money for them. I had to drop out and get some money together to go back. That's when this opportunity came up. And it was $500 down, which we didn't have, and we borrowed $900 from a credit union, and that's how we got started. But I told my brother, I don't know anything about the pizza business. Why would I get into that? And he says, well, there's nothing to it. I worked for a pizza place before, and there's no big deal. And I found out later he did, but all he did was wash dishes, and for a month.
So you were conned twice in your life, once by somebody you didn't know and once by your brother.
Yeah, and the idea was because the place was only open at night, I was going to work half the night. He was going to work half the night and have plenty of time to go to school and study. And after we signed the papers, my brother got cold feet. And so he said, I can't give up the security of my post office job. I just can't do it. And so I ended up, I gave up all my jobs. I had a lot of things going, but I gave it up and committed myself to that. So I'm stuck with the business.
Yeah. So in Pizza Tiger, you talk a little bit more about having the back office, kind of the headquarters. Now you're several stores in, and it burns down. Mm-hmm. And then I just fast forward to a lawsuit you faced with Domino Sugar over copyright infringement that you lost and then won on appeal.
Oh, it took 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. So that's my question. I mean, you get hit repeatedly with like everything falling out underneath you. I mean, at what point do you think, like this is God's will that I should keep working in the business? Or, perhaps God's trying to show me a sign that I should just throw up my hands and be done?
Well, the first year I struggled, but after a year I was making money. A second place in Mount Pleasant, I took on a partner who was older and had more experience, I thought, than I did. But I thought after that first success that I can do this in multiple locations. We started in a college town, a very small college, but the other was probably within a year one of the busiest pizza places in the state of Michigan. And so I figured that I've got something here. And we went to the second school, which was a much bigger school, and it took off like a rocket. So I thought that I could do this all over the country at an early age. I didn't need much success for my eyes to open up.
So you win that lawsuit in early 1980, I think it was.
And that was life or death. We lost that lawsuit, we're out of business.
Yeah. Because
franchisees are paying royalties for the use of a name, and then we don't own the name. We've got nothing.
Yeah. And ironically, we had the CEO of Domino's Sugar as a member of Legatus too. So they came full circle. In 1980, you finished this lawsuit and you decide you want to fulfill a lifetime dream of perhaps not playing for the Detroit Tigers, but owning is a good runner-up to playing for the team. So you buy them in 1983.
Fall of 83.
Yeah. And you're getting to the peak, not quite at the peak, but you're almost at the peak of Domino's growth at that time, right?
Yes. When we got to Domino Sugar behind us and a few other things to clean up, we had all our problems out of the way. We had a system that was nobody could touch, and we had momentum. And we had 300 stores in 1980. By the time we bought the Tigers, I think I had, I'd say 1,200 stores. And financial firms were trying to take us public, and they were talking in terms of as much as $300 million for this new company.
Yeah.
And
that was back in 83.
Yes. Yeah. So we were really rolling, and by 1985, we were opening 3 stores a day. That was more than any restaurant chain ever did in history up to that time. But in 80, that first year, of course, we won the World Series. We started out, we won, Sparky Anderson was our manager. Great guy, great Catholic. He converted when he was 16 years old. And a great manager, great leader. And we were breaking for spring training that year, and he wanted to talk to me in his office. And he says, Tom, I'm going to make a guarantee to you. I'm going to lose 50 games this year. So you got to get used to losing once in a while. And I said, well, if you lose 50 games, that's in the playoffs. And it turns out we won the first 9 games. And then we lost 1 game, and then we won the next 7. We were 16-1. And then we ended up 35-5, and that's still the fastest start in the history of baseball. Wow. So, and all the other owners were pretty upset my first year.
At some point, you decided to change your daily routine because of a mentor or perhaps a story of somebody that did something for you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
You're talking about Don Shula?
Yes.
Yeah. I always wanted to go to Mass every day, but I figured that someday I would get the time to do that. I always wanted to be a good Catholic, no matter how bad I was. I wanted to be. That was always the top priority. I think it's like Augustine, but not yet.
Yeah.
And I heard that Don Shula, after that perfect season, I think 72, went to Mass every day. I already knew Lombardi went to Mass every day. I think Newt Rockney did, Frank Leahy did, Notre Dame. And so I figured these guys are really busy, as busy as I am, and not more. What's my excuse? Mm-hmm. So I started going to Mass every day. and that was 72, 73. Been doing it ever since. And ironically, I didn't realize till years later that's when things started getting better. We still had the Domino sugar lawsuit, but our stores were doing better, and we were opening more stores. And like at the end of the lawsuit, we had 300 stores. So we were moving. If we won that lawsuit, we were going to be in good shape. If we didn't, we were going to be out of business. But things started getting better when I started going to Mass.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too long after that, one of the daily Masses, the priest gave a little homily about Marian apparitions, and now so often Mary asks to say the rosary every day. And I say rosary at funerals, but I figure Mary went through all this trouble, and that's her message. Who am I to say no to the Mother of God? But I've been saying the rosary every day ever since.
Wow.
Many times multiple rosary. I think those things helped business. It helped me keep my some balance.
Grounded.
Because, when I got so successful, and I didn't keep track of it, but probably by the time I was 49, I was a billionaire.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so all of a sudden, the money was no object personally. I could have just about anything I wanted. I don't think there weren't many billionaires those days either.
Well, I think if you're not filling your life with the faith life aspects of Mass and Rosary and adoration, then, there's a reason why successful people fall. Because when they look to what am I going to put my time into, it's drugs, sex, whatever, it's all the vices of the world, and that's how they fall. But when you are a man of faith, like you're not turned into those things. You're turned into Mass and Rosary and filling your time with things that are of eternal importance.
Yeah, it's a good thing I did, because my tendencies are to go to extremes.
Yeah.
And I think the fact I went to Mass every day, said multiple rosaries every day, started things like the Goddess and some other.
I want to get into that a little bit. So did you ever tell Don Shula that he was the inspiration for you going to Mass daily?
Oh, yes. I tried to get him to come to the Goddess summits many times. I could never get him to do it. But he did get to know him, and he did come to our first football practice and talk to the players.
Yeah.
And he could hardly stand up at that time. But,
so many ways in business, but you're a man of faith, most importantly. How does God speak to you most?
I would say my big thing in life is to stay in the state of sanctifying grace, no matter what. Mm-hmm. It's pretty simple, but I remember in the 9th grade, the nun asked the question, how do you get to heaven? And I thought it was a pretty simple answer, but I was always shy, and so I didn't try to answer it, and these kids were coming up with, well, to practice faith, open charity, love your neighbor, and on and on. And that's not the answer. So finally, I said, what's wrong with these people? They're so stupid. So I finally raised my hand. I said, Tom, what? I said, to die in the state of sanctifying grace. She said, that's the answer.
Yeah.
So to me, that's more important than anything else.
So reading your book, Pizza Tiger, you talk a lot about all the ostentatious things. You had 283 cars.
243.
43 cars, classic cars. But it didn't come, I didn't realize the breadth of what you had experienced until one time we were driving in Fort Lauderdale for the chartering of the Fort Lauderdale chapter. And again, this goes to your memory. We're going over a bridge, and you start telling me how you had 2 yachts parked in the port right there. And it just amazed me about you forget, this is Tom Monaghan, the billionaire that had all these things. You had yachts, planes, helicopters. I remember asking you, what do you miss most about being CEO of Domino's? And without thinking about it, you said an airplane, being able to fly privately. Why did you get rid of it all?
Well, as you said, I collected a lot of toys when things went so well, so fast, and I was very good at justifying them because I didn't believe in being ostentatious, but but I did it anyhow. And like planes, it saves time, it saves money. And so, the yachts, I use them for incentives for employees and franchisees. The lodge I had up in Drummond Island was a big incentive program for our franchisees. Brought them in from all over the world, but it was for me to have that kind of place, and I had to have the best of everything. And then I picked up a book by C.S. Lewis called Mere Christianity, and he had a chapter there called The Big Sin, and it was pride. And I always knew that pride was the greatest of all sins, but I didn't realize how proud I was. And I always tried to seem humble because I hated the show-off. And then I realized that I was a closet show-off. I was trying to impress people. And I knew that, and I worked at it. Many of my confessions were over the years when Younger was on that topic. And so I decided I was going to give up all the ostentatious luxuries. I called it the Millionaire's Vow of Poverty. And I got rid of car collections. I got rid of the boats. I got rid of the lodge. I got rid of all that stuff. And I quit buying the luxury cars. I remember I asked my wife if she'd get rid of her Jaguar and her Cadillac and get Mercury or Buick or something. She said, "You took the vow. I didn't."
Spoken like a true wife.
So that was a real good thing. It's a good thing because probably another year later, things started going to hell. Pizza Hut got in the delivery business. They didn't deliver at all during those years, and we showed them how. And they probably put $1 billion into delivery, and we have 54% of the market of pizza delivery in the United States. And in just a matter of a few years, they were delivering more pizzas than we were. And part of it was because I took my focus off the business. I was traveling all over the world, and a lot of it just buying stuff, and the company fell apart.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing I read that book.
Yeah. So you start this organization called Legatus in 1987 after a remarkable experience going to Mass with now Pope St. John Paul II in his private chapel.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward to today, you go to all of, many of our events, and you get to sit with Legatus members. And you're 89, so most of them younger than you.
Not quite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. 2 months shy. Sorry. What are you telling younger members? Because I've heard members share this with me. But what are you telling younger members that are experiencing the success that you had in the 80s? That are buying all the things, that are making the mistake that I think you would admit that was a mistake and a distraction. What's your advice to them?
Well, yeah. When I look back at my own case, when I was going through that, it was almost insanity. And I feel sorry for anybody that is living that way,
mm-hmm.
Because it's never satisfying. It's so much more satisfying to it's okay to have all the comforts, but to have the luxury just to impress other people, that's pride.
Yeah.
And it's so much more fulfilling to do something for someone else, particularly if you're going to do something for someone else in the way of philanthropy or charity. I feel do something that's eternal. Most philanthropy is secular, whether it's research, medical research, the cult, the arts, saving the trees, all these other things. They're not eternal. Well, then why not put all your resources that God gave you into something that is eternal? And there's nothing more better than you do for your fellow man is help them get to heaven. I could have given hundreds of millions to research, medical research, for if they go to hell, I haven't accomplished a darn thing. So I think that, and we've found in some surveys that we did that Legatus members are, once they become a Legatus member, give a lot more to the church and the pro-life than they did before.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Tom, I think what's most remarkable is about your story is you practice what you preach. You know, everything that you talk about, you do. And it's a beautiful witness. So thank you.
Right.